Laney woke filled with excitement for the first time in months. She liked the idea of having a new friend to play with, and it meant she didn't have to talk about Jenny. She thought of all the things she and Heidi could do: make pottery with the red clay deep under the sand, string shells for necklaces, catch ticklefish in the shallow pools between the sandbars, dig for clams, and make up stories. She dressed in a hurry, ignoring the empty bed where Jenny should be, and rushed out of the room. She ran right into John. "Slow down, Laney," he said, stepping out of Laney's way. "Don't tell me you're in a hurry to get to the diving stand." "What?" Laney stopped in her tracks. She looked up at John with her eyebrows raised. "It's the first Saturday of cottage season, the day we put out the diving stand." Putting the diving stand out was a community event at Tidnish Beach. Every year during low tide, all the cottage folks, adults and children alike, helped to put it in place between two sandbars. The wooden structure, a giant rectangular cube, had open sides and a ladder attached. Huge rocks were placed in the base as anchors to keep it in one place. When the tide was low, the stand was completely visible and you could easily walk to it. When the tide was high, it was the right height so that the top became a platform in the water the children could swim to. They jumped off and splashed in the salty water, then raced up the ladder to do it all again. Last year, in the middle of the summer, John swam out with Laney on his back. It was too far for her to swim on her own. She had rushed up the ladder, excited, and giggled like the older kids. She had jumped over the edge. She didn't close her mouth. She didn't plug her nose. The salty brine grabbed her breath, and the rush of water burned her nostrils. Laney waved her arms and tried to scream, but the water choked her. John, Kate, and the others had kept laughing and splashing and jumping. They didn't notice Laney struggling. She had tried to find the diving stand, but the salt scorched her eyes. She went back under. Finally, John swam over, grabbed Laney by the hand, and pulled her toward the diving stand. He tugged so hard Laney thought her arm would come off, yet she was glad to have his hand in hers. Laney clung to the wooden structure with all her might and climbed the ladder. She wouldn't go back in, even with John's help. There was no way she wanted to go underwater again. David Simpson had laughed so hard he almost fell off the diving stand. John had tried to get him to stop, but he wouldn't. Laney had sat and waited for the tide to recede so she could walk back to shore. For the rest of the summer, Laney played in the shallow water and didn't even look at the wooden structure. She ignored the fun the other children were having. She pretended not to hear the laughter and giggles coming from the diving stand. She tried not to react when David called her a sissy and a scaredy cat. So much had happened since last year. Laney had forgotten about her fear of going underwater. Until now. Now she was next to John, and it was the day to put the diving stand out again.